Maybe the WPT is to start beheading people that cheat.
Cheating in poker goes back as far as the game itself. Players have always tried to find an edge, whether it's marking cards, colluding, or even using advanced technology. We've seen story after story, and I've reported on many myself. So what does one of the greatest poker minds of all time, Phil Ivey, have to say when asked about this topic?
How should it be handled if you're cheated?
Yeah. If people are cheating in these games, yeah.
In this rare and candid interview, Ivey gives his blunt thoughts on cheating and where poker is headed, as well as the use of technology or solvers and whether or not he uses them in his own game, of which his answer might just surprise you. Starting with poker in general, Ivey agrees the game is, quote, back in full.
It's kind of interesting because you've been, in poker for so long and have kind of been through like two sort of poker booms, right? In the early 2000s, and then it seemed like it kind of dips for a while, but I feel like poker's kind of back at its peak, in my opinion.
I think poker's back full. I mean, it's just getting better and better.
And his approach to playing is this.
If it feels good to me, then I do it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, if it feels good, like if I get invited to a home game, if it feels like it makes sense and it feels good to me, then I do it. Same thing with poker tournament series, right? Like the try-ins feel good. WPTs feel good. Like, if there's only so much time that I have now, you know what I mean? I have a daughter, family, I have other interests. So it just needs to make sense. You know what I mean? Like I can't say yes to everything.
When it comes to game safety, Ivey relies on his many years of experience.
Being safe in these games and having to worry about the evolution of technology and there's online tools that are becoming more of a conversation. Obviously, in live poker, there is an abundance of different ways that something could be going on. So, how do you think about that when you're approaching your game?
Well, most people, I play with people that I know, that I'm comfortable with, right? Like, so I've been around a long time, so I kind of am familiar with
the good people and the bad people.
Yeah, the good people.
I see. Interesting. Yeah.
Pay, not going to pay, and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And so it's really, it's experience. It's just experience, and
right.
Obviously, I've been in games where there's been cheating. I've been in games where there's, shadier situations when I was younger, but I'm not in those situations anymore. Because I know what to avoid and what not to now.
Things then get intense as Ivey is asked how he would handle cheaters.
What did you do when that happened? Did you go on Twitter and make a thread about it, or did you?
Well, I don't go on social media. I'm not a threat guy. I'm not going to go on social media and like blast off. I'm just not going to do that. We figure out ways to resolve the situations.
Yeah. How do you think that should be? Because this is a popular topic on
how should it be handled if you're cheated?
Yeah. If people are cheating in these games, yeah.
I mean, I have my own views on this that I would rather not discuss.
Cheaters justice. Oh gosh. Oh.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
because
I see what you're saying.
I mean, obviously it's unacceptable, right, to cheat somebody. Right, it's like that's unacceptable. So.
It really feels like Ivey is edging the interviewer Joey Ingram towards exiting this topic, which they do, but not before this happens.
I mean, there's so many different ways to cheat nowadays. Like,
right,
live
that's what I'm saying. That's just so.
I think it's actually with the security.
He's got the glasses on.
He could be right now doing something.
Right, like that's what I'm saying. Like the world has changed. So, like, how are people supposed to think about it these days? That's what a lot of people out there are just wondering.
Maybe the WPT is to start beheading people that cheat.
I think Alan Kidding said the same thing to me.
You know what I mean? Yeah. All right, maybe don't put that in front of the village.
I'm pretty sure Alan Kidding.
Maybe you just go all the way.
Of course, everyone is laughing, but I think we know Ivey is somewhat serious in terms of the punishment needing to be quite severe. As Joey points out, Alan Keating had a similar stance when commenting about repercussions for the 2024 main event winner, who many believe cheated as his coaches used a laptop and solver on the rail in between hands.
Could be repercussions for the squad that won, or is this one of those things where we're going to let it go? What do you think? Alan, you want to kick it first here?
Go ahead, Alan. Death.
Deck. Okay. Nice.
And the moment really reminds me of the time when Patrick Antonius thought players were marking cards on stream and said this.
I think it would be a great rule if someone really gets caught cheating, that it's just a fucking death penalty. I mean, they didn't really have to have fucking balls to do it. That would protect the game a lot. Huh?
Next up, Ivey shares how he has been able to compete at the highest level for so long, detailing his experience using tools to study like solvers and whether or not he is a fan.
And a lot of people wonder, is Phil Ivey using the solver? Is he playing with the programs? Is he building a custom bet sizing strategy for any and all situations? They all want to know about that. No comment?
Am I grinding the solvers? No, I'm not grinding the solvers, but I have nothing against grinding the solvers. I can say that I am going to grind the solvers at some point. I'm going to, at some point I'm going to take a deep dive and just, win. I mean, I don't do anything like halfway. So it's like, if I'm doing it, I'm going to go all the way. It's going to be like a 6-hour a day thing. Like I already know, like, you know what I mean? So it's just like, it seems pretty tedious.
Very interesting to hear Ivey say he will, quote, grind the solvers at some point and, quote, take a deep dive, as I am sure many have thought he was opposed. In my opinion, this is what makes him the poker GOAT. He is open to learning more even after his later age, whereas not to throw another superstar under the bus, but for example, Phil Hellmuth is not. Guys like Ivey and Negreanu adapt. That said, Ivey also makes another very interesting statement.
I mean, studying matters, of course, it matters a lot, like, and stuff like that. But there are other things that matter at a poker table also, right? There's a number of other things that really matter. And, I don't want to go into exact details, but like, there are other little intangibles that, matter.
Without giving away all his secrets, Ivey clearly relies on his ability to make big reads on opponents where others just cannot. This is so evident in an amazing story Brad Owen brings up, where Ivey once called Jason Kuhn while the two were playing online so that he could get a read on him.
Jason shared a story on Twitter once where you guys were playing on an app, I guess, several years ago, and the river card came out. He made a big bet as a bluff, and you called him and you said that you couldn't see the river or something. And he swears that you were just trying to get a tell on him.
I was trying to hear his voice.
Won. Yeah. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That's accurate, that you were trying to get a verbal or some kind of tell on him?
I wanted to hear his voice, yeah.
So many nuggets of wisdom came from this single interview with Ivey. Be sure to subscribe to not miss out on my next video where I point out some more.
So even though I'm not as well studied as them, I understand what they're doing in different situations, and then I start to implement that into my different strategies. Does that make sense?